Welcome to Haunt Weekly.
Hello, everyone. I'm Jonathan.
I'm Crystal.
And this is Haunt Weekly, a weekly podcast for the haunted attraction entertainment community. Whether you're an actor, owner, or just plain aficionado, we aim to be a podcast for you. And the post-Transworld hangover continues, I think it's safe to say. I'm still seeing lots of great posts and social media interactions about it. Lots of great conversations taking place online. And obviously, we're going to have more on it next week, I think. But right now, it is episode 376, which I did the maths, divisible by 4. That means it's time to do the news. And we actually have a lot of downer news this week, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
But as usual, when we come into this hot saying we got some downer news, promise, you stick with us, we're going to try to leave you with something fun at the end.
Yeah.
So if you just hang in there with us, we will try to take care of you and send you home as happy as we can. And on that note, though, if maybe this episode isn't for you, check out all the other episodes we did. You can find us at hauntweekly.com or hauntweekly on Twitter, hauntweekly on Facebook. YouTube.com/hauntweekly is the YouTube channel. We're also available wherever podcasts are distributed. We just pay someone to shoot it out there and they handle it. I have zero control over that. But hey, I haven't found a place they missed.
Yeah, that's good.
No, that's good, right?
Yeah, if you know of a place that they missed, let us know.
So we can yell at them.
Yeah.
All right. As usual, we do a question of the week on this podcast. Last week's was, what was your favorite part of Transworld? And that's whether you went or were following along from social media, which you could do very effectively, let's be honest. Especially if you were in like Haunter's Hangout. Some of our answers. First off, Roberta McClellan's said that the conversations both on the trade show floor and off the best she's had in years.
Yes, and it was great meeting you, Roberta.
Great meeting and hanging out with you a little bit, too.
And Jim.
I would include that.
Yeah. All right, Tim Feller said couldn't go, but was impressed by the Beastcraft stuff, seconded by VFX.
Yeah, that was the booth that got the most upvotes in our comments was Beastcraft. Victor Ruella said he enjoyed meeting people in person and learning a new 3D printing techniques to recreate rusted metal.
That is interesting. I'll be interested in learning that too, since we now have a 3D printer. It was also nice meeting you.
Also nice meeting you, yes.
Yes. Ryan Ruger said, sorry, he didn't get to meet us, but was ecstatic to meet Bart and Michael from Terror in the Corn.
And first off, Ryan, never apologize for not being able to meet people at a conference. When a conference gets to a certain size, and I think Transworld exceeds that size, you're never going to meet everyone you want to.
No.
We missed people on our list.
Yeah.
And there were people, we were like on the drive home, we're like, we didn't see, dang it!
Yeah.
We were literally half the way home. We got we're like in Memphis thinking this.
Yeah, I think if we do this again, we will schedule something in advance instead of trying just to meet people.
And a lot of that was because, like I said, we were very last minute additions and attendees to this.
And
about a month before it went down.
We were working with someone else's schedule too.
Yeah.
So
there was a lot working against us meeting everyone. But trust me, big enough conference that you know a lot of people at, you're never going to pick anyone up. It happens. That's just life, man.
Yes, and Brian, it was nice to meet you also. And I know that there are so many people. Because I gave out a lot of monsters.
Yes, you did. I think you gave out 17?
No, it was over 23.
I don't know. You were making those.
I lost count.
You were cranking them out pretty quick there. And they were all so cute.
Uh-huh.
And I do love the fact that the Scarlet Badges named their monster Patches.
Yes.
Just because of fucking course, right?
Yes.
All right, now this week's question of the week is, did your haunt do anything for Valentine's Day? If so, what did it do? I'd be very curious to see what you all have to say on that. So please let us know at all the places we mentioned previously. You can find us at hauntweekly.com, hauntweekly on Twitter, hauntweekly on Facebook, and youtube.com/hauntweekly. All right, so that's a lot going on. But yes, indeed, it's also an episode divisible by 2, an even episode. So we typically try to do conference reminders on these. And with Transworld in the rearview mirror, now we get to look at what's next.
Yeah.
So take us away, Crystal.
All right, Fear Expo Live is coming March 24th through the 26th at the Owensboro Convention Center. It is free admission, but not open to the public. It's partnered with HauntCon this year. FearExpoLive.com for more info.
I have been seeing some of the promo material. Why that was hard to say, I don't know. Promo material for this, and they have a packed looking trade show floor. A lot of things, a lot of people are going to be there. If you're in the area, I can't think of a reason not to check this one out. It looks like it's going to be really interesting.
Yeah.
After that, April 29th and the 30th in Los Angeles, California, it's the Spooky Swap Meet at the Heritage Square Museum. It's a great place to purchase gently loved haunted attraction and Halloween-related items, including costumes and decor. Created by the co-founder of Midsummer Screen, you can learn more details at SpookySwapMeet.com.
Okay, Southeast Hollows Haunt Convention is going to be held May 5th through the 7th in Savannah, Georgia, at the Savannah Convention Center. Early bird tickets are available until March 31st, so if you're thinking about going, you still have time.
You have not missed the boat. You got a chance.
Exactly. You got about another month.
Make up your goddamn mind.
SEHHC.
Hurry up.
SEHHC.com for more info.
All right, and finally this week, July 15th and the 16th in Mesquite, Texas, right outside of Dallas, for those playing along at home. Mm-hmm. It's the Texas Haunters Convention at the Mesquite Convention Center. Not much details yet. Stay tuned at TexasHauntersConvention.com. Mm-hmm. All right, so yeah, a lot of big shows still coming up, still due this year. It should be interesting to see how that shakes out. Also, speaking of conferences, I wanted to do some follow-ups from our previous episode. If you haven't listened to it yet, please do. It's actually quite fun. But basically, we sat in the New Orleans Inn.
Yes.
Halfway, a little bit short of halfway home, and did a rambling hour-long conversation about Transworld and the various things, various both positives, negatives, highlights, things, just basically the whole thing. Went through it all. One of the things we said was it seemed like the convention center was kind of frustrated with Transworld.
Yeah.
Because there were a lot of oddities, like there was only one way in and out of the trade show floor, even though it was more than big enough to sustain two entrances.
Yeah, at least.
At least two. Especially, there should have been one for vendors. Because once it opened, we had to wait in line with the plebs. And like when we were when we were loading and unloading, also, it was kind of weird as to what doors they would open, and it was a lot of weird things like that. Well, we have a source who talked to us and
who sent us an email.
Not naming them, but we have faith in them. And they said that the issue is that Transworld apparently doesn't like to spend money.
Yeah, that it's not issues with the conference center itself. It's issues with how much is being paid for the conference workers and things.
Yeah, I don't know all the details of that,
Nope.
but that is a source of constant negotiation between a conference and a convention center, though, is what are you paying for, what are you not paying for. Mm-hmm. It's and believe me, having been a part of those negotiations before, it can get granular as fuck.
It can.
It really, really can. And so, yeah, I understand that. So basically, don't blame the convention center as hard as we went on that. Basically, it looks like Transworld at least has some of the blame.
Yeah.
Also, I said something I realized was fairly stupid last time because I did some additional research. I made the idea of, hey, go to Transworld, but don't go to Transworld.
Yeah.
Since so much of the action takes place in the lobby of the Marriott and the lobby of the various hotels around the convention center and other events that aren't officially connected with Transworld, it might make sense to go badgeless. But then I looked into it. See, that's a very cool thing to do with South by Southwest. And the reason is the all-access platinum/gold badge, or what the fuck they call it these days, is goddamn near $2,000. And as someone who lives in New Orleans, I would like to assure you that I can get our asses to Austin, find us a place to stay for 5 nights, and eat and bathe ourselves in that time for less than $2,000. It's actually not that difficult.
No.
especially since we already know people in Austin. Probably can
Yeah.
get a leg up either on a cheap Airbnb or just get a place to stay. But yeah, we can do it for less than that. So basically, getting the badge doubles what we would spend for each of us.
Yeah, in fact, every time we've gone, we stay with friends in the area.
Yeah, and the only reason we went was because I got a gold badge for speaking.
Yes. Now, I will say that if you are able to get in as a speaker to Transworld, that's definitely the way to go.
Yeah, and that's true for a lot of conferences,
Yeah.
actually. It's not just Transworld.
No.
But yeah, so basically, though, I realized if you spent the money and the resources to get your ass to St. Louis and spend 5 days somewhere near the convention center, the $90 to $105 for a badge for the trade show floor is not going to be the deal breaker.
Mm-hmm.
Just go. It's a very, very good trade show floor, and you really should see it if you can.
Yeah.
So I've had time to rethink that one. Because like I said, that episode was brain dead. Recorded at like 2 a.m. I think.
Worrying if we were going to wake up the other people near us.
And wondering about that train that went by just right before it was coming back.
Yeah.
Or another one was coming. So yeah, that was dumb. But everything else on it I think was still pretty good. And I think we got a good synopsis of it. And we're going to talk more about it in some specifics next week. I'm not sure the exact details yet. We haven't planned that topic out. That was like one of the weirdest questions we kept getting asked was how long do you plan the topics out?
Yeah.
Like 5 minutes sometimes.
Pretty much.
I mean, sometimes we do have like a whole month in advance. Sometimes we do actually have a good list.
Like we're planning on having guests on soon, people that we met at Transworld and confirmed that
and like when we do things like that, we usually do plan out further in advance. But there have been plenty of Sundays we woke up and went, what do you want to talk about this week on Home Weekly, sweetie?
Yeah.
And then bounce ideas back and forth, and one of us writes show notes and we do an episode.
Yeah.
Usually connected to whatever we've been bullshitting each other about for the entire week.
Yeah. Last week it was Transworld.
Well, yeah, but that was obvious. Like half the reason I think we went was free topic ideas for a few weeks. Got a vacation from thinking about it.
Yeah.
All right. But speaking of vacation from thinking about what we're talking about, real fast. Work we did on our home. We actually did work.
Yeah.
We didn't do physical work, but we did some mental labor that was actually really important. And that was we have nailed down our theme for this year.
Yeah. And the importance of this is that this means that I can start creating the things that go in the rooms in my head.
And also sometimes in reality, too, because a lot of them can be created like in the evenings when you're watching TV and so forth.
Yeah, oh yeah. But now that we know what we're going to be doing, that process starts. I start thinking, okay, how will this work? How will that work? Where is it going to go? And then start getting the stuff to actually start making it throughout the year.
Are we talking about the concept?
Sure.
Okay, the concept we're doing is a roadside museum / one of those roadside attractions.
We love them.
We do. We've been to the Spear Chunk. In fact, we should do an episode about the Spear Chunking Museum.
Are we sure we haven't? It feels like we've talked about that.
We might. I know we've talked about it on here, but that's just it. We see a big sign that says Spear Chunking Museum.
Yeah.
Our ass is pulling over.
We did a U-turn on the road.
Yeah. Nearly caused an accident trying to get to that. We stopped there. We've been to the Johnny Cash Museum, which is right along 55.
Yeah.
That was really cool.
There's a little museum near Gramercy on the way to Baton Rouge from here that we stopped at. Yeah. That was also a geocache.
We also did the New Madrid Museum, the Earthquake Museum.
Yep.
So, yeah, we're a sucker for these types of roadside museums. And, in fact, I think because we've gone up and down 55 between St. Louis and New Orleans so many times, I think we're running out of new ones to do on that trip. We did the Toy Museum.
Yeah. Yeah. And originally we were going to do something a little bit different.
Yeah. But because the whole, I wanted to base this on the 1920s. I've been very fascinated with the modern history of ancient Egypt, if that makes any sense. And, the treatment that archaeologists gave the Egyptian mummies and the Egyptian artifacts and the Egyptian tombs in, the 20s and 30s, or rather the complete, utter lack of respect they gave. And it's been fascinating because, basically, people were legitimately snorting mummy powder.
Yeah.
That was a thing that happened. And it's I'm pretty sure that didn't happen often because that would burn like a motherfucker.
Do it once.
Do it once and just... But anyways, so I wanted to do something with that and about selling, charms and good luck pieces or stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously, when you do that, you start trending too deep into religion, and we're in an area where those religions are very much practiced.
Yeah, so we didn't want to, offend anyone
Mm-hmm.
by, trampling religion or trampling on, this that happened to, in real
and
life.
so, but we found a way to do this kind of the same idea, just it's a complete capitalism kit rather than a religion.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's just it. That's blame capitalism.
Yeah.
Whenever in doubt, just blame capitalism. It's so easy.
Yes.
I highly recommend that strategy. So that's what we're running with for the theme, and it kind of lets us keep a lot of the initial ideas we had for what's there, because a lot of the same stuff overlaps. But also it gives us a story that basically frees us from offending any religion.
Yeah. Exactly.
And it also makes it very easy to imagine the layout of the rooms we're going to have and figure out what rooms what. We've already mapped out the rough of what we think the 4 rooms are going to be. We're cutting down from 4 zones to 5. We're going to talk more about that later and why we're doing it. Mm-hmm. We have a plan. It's a plan. That's as far as I'm taking that. The superlatives on that. It exists. It exists. So if it works, it'll be great, and we will be doing wonderful stuff with it. I'm actually very excited about the new layout and also this theme because it does continue our tradition of alternating male and female murderers, basically.
Yeah, and I'm really excited about it too because this will probably be one of the more fantastical type scenes that we've done.
Yeah.
Because I'll be able to make up creatures and things to put in it as part of, she found this weird thing in the woods and put it in the music.
And that's the beauty of it. It's going to be a fantastical scene, still grounded in reality.
Yeah.
How often do you get that?
Not often.
Now, we are going to take a research trip at some point soon, because one roadside attraction we have not seen. Uh-huh. Believe it or not, I'm walking on air. I never thought I could feel so... Okay, well, sorry. But believe it or not, we've never actually been to the Abita Mystery House.
Yeah.
We've just never been that way.
Yeah, and actually I saw a bumper sticker for them yesterday on our street. So it's like, okay, we have to go.
Yeah, we've been wanting to go for some time, but it's very much out of the way for us. Yeah. So we're going to have to make a special trip for it sometime in the coming weeks. And when we do, that'll probably be an episode unto itself as well, because I'm sure we'll have a lot to discuss there. At least I hope we will. If I go all that way and I don't get enough to talk about for 45 minutes on Haunt Weekly, I'm really pissed.
Yeah.
That's how I know it's a ripoff. But anyway, so that's the theme. Got that picked. And like we said, this is an episode of Visible by 4. Time to do the news. And do you want me to start off or do you want to start? Nobody wins. There's no winners.
I can start off.
There's no winners with this because the first 2 stories suck.
Yeah. All right. So, a former Hell's Gate and Statesville haunted house worker, yes, that Hell's Gate and Statesville, is suing over pay. And the class action lawsuit was filed last week in Will County and maintains that employees who worked the haunted houses were paid less than minimum wage.
And by the way, this is an article by Jeff Arnold at The Patch.
Yes.
Just to provide that info.
Yes. Sorry.
We get excited.
I was going to put it in, but then,
We get too into the subject sometimes.
Right. And Amanda Zabinski is listed as the plaintiff in the suit, and she's seeking damages from the owners of Hell's Gate and the since closed Statesville Haunted Prison in Crest Hill, which is John LaFlamboy Jr.
Yeah. Zabinski said that she worked at both attractions for 15 years. Mm-hmm. And that the quote unquote lucrative haunted houses, I mean, I don't know how lucrative any haunted house is, got to be honest, operate on quote unquote, and this is a direct quote here, on the backs of hundreds of indispensable employees who are paid quote unquote far below minimum wage. She says she was paid, Jesus Christ, she says she made $6.75 per hour and worked with Statesville and Hell's Gate for the past 15 years.
Yeah. John LaFlamboy Jr. has said that she was an independent contractor and was not made to work the hours stated in the lawsuit and worked a total of 8 shifts over the past 3 years.
Okay. Right off the bat, I'm going to say I'm not comfortable with actors being independent contractors.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a very good reason for that. And it's because, as you know from working HR,
Mm-hmm.
the people who provide your core product are not supposed to be independent contractors.
Yeah. And you see that this comes up. Ken just decided to chime in there.
It just said hi, Mom, to it. So.
Yeah. This comes up quite often, and it came up with like Uber and Lyft whenever they started.
Yeah.
The drivers, were hired originally as independent contractors and then sued saying, no, we're the core piece of the business.
Yeah.
And
that still seems to be ongoing to some degree. And I mean, I know for a fact one company that you worked for originally as a quote-unquote independent contractor was forced into taking on everyone as employees.
Yeah. Well, in another company I worked for, apparently I worked for really bad companies.
Yeah, you're company picker, my bro.
Yeah. They were fined like $250,000
Yeah.
for saying that they're independent contractors in California.
Yeah, this was a California suit.
Exactly.
You know,
California has different
story.
rules than everywhere else.
Yeah, so right now, I mean, what John LaFamboy is saying about employees being independent contractors, that makes me very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Just going to throw that out. It goes against everything I know about HR and what's supposed to be the dichotomy. Because I work a lot as an independent contractor. Mm-hmm. But I'm doing plagiarism analyses. I'm doing things that usually aren't the core product.
Yeah.
I'm an expert witness. this is exactly when it's supposed to be at. And here's the thing. I get it. Some quote-unquote employees prefer being independent contractors. Some prefer to be employees. There are positives and negatives with both. But my understanding of how the law works, your core product makers are not supposed to be independent contractors. The people that you make your work. Now, beyond that, there seems to be a lot of discrepancy with what happened here. And I don't want to get too deep into it because right now, this case is obviously very early on. We don't have evidence. Because she's saying she worked there for 15 years. John LaFlamboy saying she's only worked like 8 shifts in the past 3. Yeah.
So, who knows? I mean, this was just filed, and this is gonna be one we're following.
Yeah, and I would encourage the entire industry to follow this one. Yeah. And that's kind of one of the things right now is that we're seeing a lot of lawsuits dealing with haunted attractions because we're talking about another one a little bit later. And it's like the industry needs to be watching these cases because this will impact you. Yeah. Whether you realize it or not.
Mm-hmm. It will. And I mean, this could change the haunt industry. Yeah. Like this could come out and say, you can't have people working for you as independent contractors.
Yeah, I know that Rise locally hires everyone as an employee.
Yeah.
They bring everyone as a full employee. And there's a lot of reasons for the business to do that too. Yeah. I mean, honestly, and like I said, there are positives and negatives both sides of this. And I know for the businesses typically think they do, or maybe they actually do save money hiring people as independent contractors. Mm-hmm. But at the flip side of the coin, people who are not independent contractors typically pay more in taxes or have more taken out of taxes. Mm-hmm. Where 1099 people basically get the entire check. Yeah. And then they have their responsibility is to either prepay or postpay their taxes. Yeah. Later. Exactly. It's complicated shit. I don't know enough about employment law. Maybe we should have someone on here to talk about HR stuff. Maybe. Radical concept, right? Maybe we have someone in mind. Dun-dun-dun.
Yes, they cannot see you staring at the microphone awkwardly.
I will stare at the microphone until you hear it. I got all day.
We gotta get back on live.
We gotta get back on doing video ones, yeah. All right, the next story that's equally rough. In Springfield, Missouri, the Hotel of Terror in downtown Springfield is facing condemnation. This article is by trying to figure out who it's by.
Yeah, I know. I did a bad job this.
Caitlin Schumacher at KY3, the worst of the KY jellies. But yes, the Springfield City Council is meeting to discuss condemning the Hotel of Terror on Main Street through eminent domain. That haunted house has been there for 45 years.
Yeah. This is an insane story.
We just had a conversation at Transworld with
Roberta.
With Roberta, yeah,
and the people from Niles.
Yeah, Niles. About their haunt just hit 50. And we were trying to think of haunts that not necessarily were there longer. I mean, I tend to believe them that they haven't heard of anyone longer. But we were trying to think of haunts playing the same sport.
Mm-hmm.
Like anything above 40 would have counted, probably.
Yeah.
And we had, a few in mind, but we did not know about Hotel of Terror. I got to be honest, we did not know about them. Basically, it opened their door 45 years ago. The city says that they want to acquire it to fix the Main Street Bridge and move forward with the quote-unquote renewed Jordan Creek project. Basically, the Hotel of Terror owners began negotiations with the city about the property in 2019. So this has been ongoing for 4 years. Mm-hmm. But they say but basically the negotiations have gone fuck all. They haven't been able to reach an agreement, so now the city is looking to use eminent domain to force the haunted attraction out.
Yeah, which is... There's so much with this.
Okay.
Go ahead.
This is not on the same level as this, but this is what it reminds me of immediately. In Columbia, South Carolina, way back when we lived there, there was a very interesting little pub called the Sherlock Holmes Pub. And it had been there in some capacity. I don't think it was a Sherlock Holmes pub for centuries. Yeah. It had been there for a long time, is my understanding. And it was one of the very few things underground. Because this is not an area big on basements. It was one of the few things underground, right? Yeah. And so, it had, to my mind, the best goddamn burgers Columbia, South Carolina has ever seen.
They were really good.
They were really fucking good burgers. And this one, it was to the point that we were going there regularly before we were drinking. Yeah. We didn't even go for the beer. I don't think I ever had an alcoholic beverage there. But anyways, they were going to do some kind of maintenance on Main Street, once again nearby. And the city basically condemned the property because there was no way that they could protect it when they were doing this road work. And as a result, it closed for good. Mm-hmm. That's what this reminds me of. It's this, we know your business has been there for dozens of years, and we know it's a staple and a part of the unique charm and character of our downtown area, but fuck you, it's inconvenient to deal with you being where you are. Yeah.
Well, and they say that they're trying to repair a bridge, and in order to repair the bridge, they have to remove the building. They basically are eminent domaining it to knock it down completely and make it a green space in addition to repairing the bridge.
Basically doing what they did under the bridge near us. Yeah. Where it's a green space underneath the Crescent City connection. Mm-hmm. I'm sympathetic to the plight of the city here. Yeah. You do have to do maintenance and work on bridges and things like that. But it still seems very stunning to me that there is no solution here.
And how was that bridge built? So that
I bet it was built like the fucking Crescent City connection here through the convention center. Oh, okay. Remember that several of the supports go right into the goddamn building?
Yeah, they do. That was stupid.
I didn't build it, man. I'm no fucking architect, but I know that's short-sighted as fuck.
Yeah, but it's also part of the renewed Jordan Creek project.
Yes, I feel bad for the city. Yeah, this is a difficult situation, but there has to be a solution here. I mean, and you've been in negotiations since 2019. Why can't those negotiations be, hey, we'll set you up with a nearly identical place down the street or across the street or something?
So there have been some talks about moving them to a location about 1.5 miles away. But there's a lot of things that are built into the walls of the current haunted house, and they they have not offered them enough money to replace what would be lost. That's the part of the owner. So yeah, they're bringing in a third party to help negotiate. But if it's not negotiated, then in the next, couple of weeks, they're going to eminent domain.
Or try to, at least.
Yeah. Start the proceedings.
Because eminent domain, that process can take years.
Yes, it can.
But I would still say, if you have not been to the Hotel of Terror in Springfield, Missouri, and you have interest in the Hotel of Terror in Springfield, Missouri, if they are open this season, I would make it a point to go.
Yeah.
Is that reasonable?
It is.
Moving on. Oh, God.
All right. This is the latest on a new trail of terror in South Hall in Beaufort, Georgia. This is by Jeff Gill at the Times, and it's the Gainesville Times.
Yeah.
Basically, the Trail of Terror had put in a proposal to move half a mile down the road to a new 13-acre agritainment site.
I do love that term, agrotainment. I just can't get over that word.
Yeah. And several residents were opposed to the proposal. They voiced their concerns in meetings, stating, that kids need sleep. These aren't direct quotes, obviously, and that it would bring security issues and noise issues to the area. So basically, the county commission on Tuesday, the January 17th, said you can't move. You got to stay where you're at. They denied the petition.
We talk a lot on this podcast about the need for haunted attractions to really ingrate themselves into their neighborhoods and their neighbors, both businesses and residential.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know the full history here.
No.
But it sounds like they had a lot of residents pissed off at them before this.
Yeah. Yeah, because they showed up and they talked about it. Yeah. They showed up to a council meeting.
Yeah, and even here in New Orleans, almost no one shows up to city council meetings.
No. We've been to a few for things that we care about. And that's the thing. It's got to be something that you're invested in to go.
Yeah, it's crazy. And they talked about here, the old location for the Trail of Terror was on a property next to a church, was half a mile away. And they're saying the noise could still be heard half a mile away.
Yeah, in the subdivision. And now they're wanting to move it
closer. Right next to it.
Half a mile closer next to someone else's property and be open until 2 a.m. for 2 months.
Jesus. Well, 2 a.m. is part of your problem.
Yeah.
I mean, I hate to be that dick, but yeah, I think 2 a.m. might have been asking too much.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, I mean, Christ. We have noise ordinances in New Orleans. Shock, I know, we do in some places, though. Mm-hmm. And those usually start at midnight.
Yeah.
When they do. And that's a whole other problem that we can go off on about later. But, yeah, it sounds to me like they already had issues within their community.
Mm-hmm.
And as a result of that, whenever they wanted something, the community showed up to say no.
Yeah.
And I don't necessarily know what they could have or should have done better, if there's anything.
No.
I'm not saying they did anything wrong.
Mm-mm.
It's just obviously this community was already hostile for whatever reason.
Yeah.
So, it sucks. I hope you're able to work it out somehow.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I get it. That sucks. It sounds like they were trying to move to a much bigger piece of property. Which honestly might have helped with the noise by spreading that shit out some.
Yeah.
If you think about it, because if you're moving, I don't know how big their current plot is, but let's say double in size.
Mm-hmm.
If you have roughly the same amount of actors and stuff, just spread out over more area, that's less noise.
Yeah.
It really is. So, I don't know. Anyways, moving on to a haunt we actually got to visit. This is an interesting story for us. OWA in Foley, Alabama, which is right outside Mobile, is opening Slaughtergraw. Basically, yeah, this is from Nightmare Creatures Haunted House, I believe it is. No, hang on. I forgot what the name of the actual haunt was. It But
yeah, Nightmare Chambers.
Nightmare Chambers.
Sorry.
Sorry, guys. It wasn't in the notes, and I forgot. But between February 10th and March 5th, they are doing a horror Mardi Gras theme.
Yeah.
Now, I have a question.
Uh-huh.
Why the fuck isn't this in New Orleans?
Because we don't have any year-round haunts, which is what this is.
Yeah, this is a true year-round haunt. And for those that don't know, OWA is a theme park, water park type thing.
Yeah.
It's pretty goddamn big.
Yeah, it's kind of like an overgrown Midway.
Yeah.
But then there's like an area with theme park rides that you have to pay extra for.
It's complicated.
Yeah.
It gets complicated in a hurry because, yeah, there's like a lot of restaurants and bars and ice cream parlors and shit.
Yeah.
There's a haunted attraction. There's shit to do around the lake. We only got to see a small chunk of it when we went because we basically went to Nightmare Chambers and got the fuck out because we were trying to hit a bunch of haunts that night. But we got to meet the people behind Nightmare Chambers and they were lovely. And they talked about how they had to really rush to be open for haunt season last year. That was their first season. But that now they're a year-round haunt.
Yeah.
And doing different themes. And I think this is the first Mardi Gras themed haunt, other than ours, which we did a Mardi Gras theme but didn't do it at Mardi Gras.
Yeah.
But I think this is the first Mardi Gras themed haunt at Mardi Gras we've ever seen.
Yeah, exactly. And, it's interesting because they talk about how they have a full story behind it.
Yeah.
That there is a butcher. Watch out for the butcher because there's famine in the area. There's food shortages. So he is trying to make a feast for the Mardi Gras ball, which is where the show ends, is what it sounds like.
Yeah, I actually really, really dig that story. Our story, if I remember correctly, was the Killer Crew was a Mardi Gras crew, which is a crew, KREWE.
Yeah.
Is an organization that puts on parades.
Yeah.
They usually put on both the parade and the ball. And this crew was running into severe financial trouble, which is actually a really common problem for crews.
It is.
That was a super easy thing to pull out. And so their solution was to recruit people, take their money, and then murder them so they don't have to provide any of the services.
Yeah.
So, different approaches, but still, I think theirs might actually be slightly better because I do like the cannibalism angle on it a little bit better.
Yeah.
But anyway, we had a lot of fun with it. My major note, if I'm going to give them a note, is why does this not start January 6th and run through February 18, I think it's Mardi Gras this year? No. 21st. It's 21st. Sorry, it's the week after Valentine's Day. Mm-hmm. Why isn't that the run? Why is it February 10th through March 5th?
Yeah. Alabama Mardi Gras is differently. Mardi Gras is a religious holiday, which people forget. It has very set rules.
Yeah, but the festivities around it are also very secular.
Yeah.
It's one of those things. It's like Christmas in that regard. That, yeah, it's a religious holiday, but a lot of the festivities around it are quite secular.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I'm actually tempted to make another run at Foley to go and see this show.
And it doesn't hurt that Foley is a reasonable distance away for us, and we have Saturdays pretty wide open right now. Mm-hmm. So maybe we'll take a Saturday and head on out there.
Well, at least think about it.
Yes, we will.
All right.
But I love this. I just want to say I love it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Moving on.
All right. A local attraction is opening an immersive escape room experience in Sparta, Michigan. This is by Abby Poirier at the Grand Rapids Business Journal. The Abandoned Acres Haunted Attraction is branching out into escape room craze, and they are pulling from the local history in order to theme their escape room. Apparently there's a lot of mining in the area, so it's escape the mine, trapped. Yeah. And it was interesting because their customers kept asking them to build escape rooms, which is an interesting reason to do it. So they're going to add every year a new themed one, but it sounds like it could be fun.
It could be fun. My worry is with every time I hear about a new escape room being built, especially a permanent one, is that this is an industry that's in the trash. But I say that not knowing a goddamn thing about the tourism industry in this area.
Yeah.
Never heard of Sparta, Michigan. Sorry about that. Or is it? Yeah, Sparta, Michigan. Never heard of it. Sorry. I have no idea if this is a place tourists goes or if there's like a cycle of circulation of people. It may work very well. It may be an underserved community, but yeah, unless you've got a underserved, untapped market of people that churns people, an escape room is a risky move. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah. Well.
But it does sound really good. And like I said, the CGI effects with hidden doorways and things like that. I mean, this sounds like it has a lot of potential to be a really, really amazing escape room experience.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I don't know. I'm giving. I sure hope it goes well for you. Please, though, be mindful of the current economic situation for escape rooms.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. Maybe don't bet the farm on it.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe just bet the stable.
Yeah.
All right. Well, this story sounds a little familiar to me.
Mm-hmm.
We're covering this from Yahoo News. But CFX is suing All Elite Wrestling over the use of masks and merchandise. Now, 2 episodes ago, we spent an hour on this.
Yeah.
Because as we talked about, this is basically you're taking everything that is meaningful in my life, other than my relationships, and putting it into one story because it's a copyright story involving the haunted attraction industry, professional wrestling, and it's taking place in New Orleans.
Yeah, exactly.
Jesus goddamn Christ, people. You get lockpicking in this, you have a Jonathan singularity. I just turn into a little black hole.
Oh, that explains it.
Oh, good God. But yeah, no, the story is absolutely crazy. I do encourage you to go listen to episode 374 if you haven't, for the full coverage about it. I will say, because the basics of it, for those that just want the 2-second version, is CFX, when they produce masks, they retain merchandising rights on it. They are fine with people using their mask in performance, including in media.
Yeah.
So you want to use a mask you bought from CFX in a commercial, you want to use it in marketing, Godspeed. It only becomes a potential issue when you want to use it on t-shirts or sell replicas of it or whatever.
Yeah.
The minute you're putting it on merch for sale, they want to strike a deal with you. And from what I've read and what they told me, they're very, very easy to work with on those deals. Mm-hmm. They didn't sound like they were, strict assholes about it. And one thing that drives me crazy about this lawsuit is they say that AEW, this is for the wrestler Luchasaurus, by the way. I can't believe it took me this long to say the wrestler name that's wearing the mask.
Yeah.
But they say they bought another version of Luchasaurus' mask with merch rights and then didn't use it.
Yeah.
And then never went back and bought the merch rights for the original.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. That's a little wackadoodle to me that AEW would do that, but I can totally... It sounds almost like an oversight more than a malicious thing at that point.
It does.
Because they clearly were okay with buying merch rights. So anyways, yeah, episode 374 has the full coverage on it from a copyright standpoint. The only thing I can add new to that episode is while I was on the trade show floor at Transworld, pretty much every professional CFX, Shattered FX, Immortal Masks, and a couple of others, I stopped in and said, hey, what's your copyright policy? And it was interesting. They all had roughly the same boundaries. They all said, yeah, we're fine if you use it in your marketing, your promotion. But, if you do sell merch with it, we are going to ask for a license. But they also said they're not, super itching to sue people either.
Yeah.
And they all said the same thing. All that weren't CFX said the same thing, which is, if we were in CFX's situation, I don't know what we would have done either. That's a big exposure and a lot of money on the table. We don't know what we would have done, honestly.
Yeah.
And I think that's the honest answer. So, yeah, be very mindful. We're going to come back at this, talking about using these masks and merch. And I think some really good conversations have come up with people who make those, who draw and design those shirts too, has also begun. So I think this is an area where we need to have more focus in the next few weeks. But yeah, be mindful the lawsuit exists. Link will be included there. Check out 374 for the real deets.
All right. And finally for this week, we are ending on a happy note.
Please, Lord of Jesus Christ, please.
Brooklyn artist Andy Sahlstrom has turned Little Tykes Tot Toys into dark adult collectibles. This is by Rusty Blazenhoff at boingboing.net. This is just a fun article. If you know the little, bright red and yellow toys from Little Tykes, the artist has made a hearse, an
ashtray out of the iconic
turtle.
The turtle sandbox.
Yeah.
Which I am 100% sure you have seen that at some point. I'm sorry.
Yeah. The
A pillory.
A pillory with out of the basketball hoop.
Yep.
Solitary confinement box. So it's just some funny things. It's definitely worth checking out the article on this one.
Yeah, and it's realistically less of an article and more of an Instagram post.
Yeah.
For being honest with one another. But it is so bizarre.
Yeah.
To see like things that are obviously very serious and very heavy. You know, like a jail cell or a the place where you meet people when they're in jail.
Yeah.
The divide like that. Stuff like that out of Playmobil stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's so bizarre, but also kind of adorable. I love the hearse.
I do too. It's super cute.
The hearse is what the highlight is, realistically. Yeah. And yeah, that iconic red and yellow car that I think everybody either had or at least saw.
Yeah.
As a kid. And I think... okay, honestly, I don't know about people much younger than us, but I know everyone our age was at least exposed to it.
Yeah, I think that we have one in the backyard that
we have one, not those colors, but that style. Yes.
Yeah, that we were going to use for a clown car scene.
Yeah, in the front yard, and we didn't get rid of it because it's unfortunately fallen to pieces.
Yeah.
But they turned it into a hearse. Wild.
Yeah.
So, yeah, all in all, it's a neat little thing. Check out the post of the visuals. I guarantee you it'll make your haunter heart smile. At least a little bit. Well, that's all the news we have. I mean, yeah, it's been a rough week for news, but, you know. So we're going to come back next week. I think we're going to be talking more about Transworld, and we're also going to start reconnecting with people after Transworld, seeing when we can get them on to do live episodes.
Yeah.
Because we definitely want to get back in that. We have a lot of people in mind we want to connect with on a variety of topics. So please, stay tuned to all the places we exist so you can keep up with that. Facebook.com/HauntWeekly will be the place to keep up on those. That's where we do our live streaming. We don't Twitch, or I guess we could probably YouTube them too now. But so youtube.com/HauntWeekly, check out there as well. But definitely focus on Facebook, Haunt Weekly on Facebook.
Yeah.
You can also find us at hauntweekly.com. We're also Haunt Weekly on Twitter. And as per usual, wherever podcasts are distributed, we do our best to be there. Until next time, I'm Jonathan.
I'm Crystal.
And we'll see you all next week with another dose of Haunted Attraction goodness. See you all then.